Hi, everybody. Rick DiClemente here. Welcome to Astrology Unplugged. Tonight's going to be a little different because a couple weeks ago I did a show. I was invited to speak on Kesenya Moore's show in Australia. If you don't know Kesenya, she found me about a couple of years ago by following me a lot, and then she made herself known, and we started reading. We found out that we have a lot of common interest. One of which was me telling her about harmonics. And she's just really good. This woman is really talented. Hasn't been doing astrology that long, but she just really works hard at it. So she's had me on her show a couple of times, and she asked me to go on a couple of weeks ago to explain harmonics. Now, I'm going to quickly explain to you what they are. I'm not going to expect you to do them, but to get a general idea. Most people don't do harmonics the way I do. And I explain in the video how I got started and all that. I use mainly the 12th harmonic and the 6th harmonic. That is the number 12, which is the spiritual number, like Pisces, and the number 6 is like Virgo, has to do with your work skills, your life direction. So all I do is take your birth chart. The computer does it all for me. I used to do it all by hand. And I take the position of all your planets and I multiply them by 12 and put them back on the circle. If they wrap around the circle, so be it. And when you're done, and I've studied this a long time, the reason I got into this is I wanted to find out why the birth charts are the way they are. Why? Why do you have one that's all hectic? Someone else got one that's all sleepy. One person's got a lot of load on their shoulder. One person gets away with murder. Why is this? It's not just happenstance. And I'm of the theory that you choose your own birth chart in one way or another. And the harmonics are the clue. And the 12th harmonic is the spiritual chart, it's the past life chart. And it shows me, after a lot of research, why you took this lifetime. It tells me in general what your spiritual life was like in the past, not whether you were a shoe fixer or a baker or whatever. But it shows me in general your attitude towards God. Because what happens in astrology, and maybe you guys have seen this, people don't realize what they're looking at. These magazines and these little shows on astrology have really hurt us because they've taken away the concentration that what astrology is. It's a map of you going back to God or going away from Him or something like that, your viewpoint of Him, His viewpoint of you. But we've removed God from all astrology. We get talking about boyfriends and girlfriends and money and garages and cars. And it's not what astrology is. It's not in my book. So when I get into the 12th harmonic, which is very soon on the video, you're going to see me with my own chart and some other people's charts. And some people I do the 5th harmonic, which is about their creative skills on stage, etc. 6th harmonic about your life direction. These harmonics are subtle ways for me to get a look at what you're really interested in doing. I mean, when it comes down to it, we're either trying to please God or else we're trying to keep him from being mad or whatever. And all these things are all made up because he's not mad. He doesn't judge us. That's what you'll find out in this reading here. Now, don't worry if you haven't done your 12th harmonic. Most of you have done your 12th harmonic for you on this show. And what it gives me is a general attitude of what I think during your birth year, right before you're born. What it seems to me is what you felt God was mad at you about. And you better go fix this thing. So you take a new lifetime to fix these qualities. That's what it's all about. And when you start doing this, you go back and forth between the 12th harmonic and the birth chart, which is the first harmonic, 12th and the first, and the 12th and the birth. And you go back and forth, and you start to see similarities. You start to see, well, no wonder this person's like this, because look at the past life. And the more you do that, the more it syncs up. So let's get started, and I'll take an evening off here. So we'll have some time at the end if you want to save for some questions. It's about an hour and 20 minutes, so we'll get started right here. Share here. Let's take a look at, is that it? That's it here. Here it is here. Here we go.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to this very special report that myself and my fellow astrologer, Rick DiClemente, are putting together for you. Hi, Rick, and welcome.
Hi, everybody. Nice to be here.
This is going to be such a fantastic video because we're going to be looking at harmonic charts. And if ever there was an expert in harmonic charts and how to use them to predict, it is Rick. And I'm going to give people a little bit of background about you, Rick, just in case they aren't aware of who you are. But first of all, congratulations on two very special events that recently occurred in your life. Hitting a big significant milestone this year, birthday-wise. Congratulations on that. And congratulations also on recently hitting 300 shows with your wonderful YouTube channel, Astrology Unplugged. Do check it out, people, if you haven't already. Rick does a presentation every week where you can learn all facets of astrology and spirituality as well. It's a wonderful, wonderful show. And that's actually how I first met Rick, was through his show. And I've learned so much from him in the years since I started following his YouTube channel. Also, Rick has recently been nominated by, I have to read this, the OM Times magazine as Best Astrologer of 2022. So if you're familiar with OM Times magazine and you want to go and vote, head over there now and vote for the Best Astrologer of 2022. And congratulations on your nomination, Rick. That's quite
thank you. I used to write for them a good bit, and then frankly I turned sour after a while because everything was so depressing with Pluto and Saturn, and I didn't want to just keep writing about Pluto, and their magazine is real upbeat. They want it all cheery, and I said, I can't give you cheery stuff, not with Pluto and Saturn or what they were doing.
When was this?
Pardon me?
Whenabouts was that? Was that sort
about 3-4 years ago?
Yeah, of course.
Things are getting better now, I think. But I am an astrologer of about 46 years in the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania area, along with my partner, Liza Jane Brown, who has about the same amount of time. Kesenya's been nice enough to be a wonderful guest on our show. And it's good to be on hers because we're exchanging. I know some things she doesn't, and we're kind of compatible in that sense.
That's right. We learn from each other, and it's a wonderful, wonderful friendship that we share. I love it. But you mentioned a moment ago, about how things were not very positive 3 or 4 years ago. And
I just kept writing about Pluto and all the heaviness.
Yeah, and how can that be ignored? It can't. I know that you are a big advocate of one of the reasons why we've had a tough 3 to 4 years is the square between Pluto and Eris. And so I just want to ask you about that before we get into our topic for the day. I just want to ask you about that. They're separating now, correct? In the sky?
Pluto is starting to separate from Eris.
Yeah, because she has a 500-odd year orbit.
She's 120 years in the sign of Aries.
Yeah, that's a long time in Aries. That's a long time. So she has an elliptical orbit like Pluto. And
she has an elliptical orbit, and she just takes forever.
Yes.
540 years ago around the Earth.
Yes. And so with all that time in Aries, who mythologically was her brother, correct? Is that right? That
Her brother was Mars.
Mars, okay, in the Roman, yeah. So it's interesting that she brings all sorts of chaos, I guess, with her.
She's the Lord of Chaos. Yeah. But she needs to be understood. There's too much of this going around of the Lord of discord and chaos. It's not that she is, it's that if she has to use that, she will. Because she's the Lord of, we're going to get it done.
Yeah.
We're not going to talk about it. We're done talking. We're going to get this thing fixed, whatever it is, black problem, female problems, whatever it is in your society, whatever it is. We're just not putting up with it anymore.
Yeah.
And if I have to use discord, I will. Pluto won't do that. Pluto uses destruction.
Yes.
But she will use discord, and she was ridden on her back. Donald Trump rode on her back to cause all the discord because he came to us in the U.S. the savior. She was discovered. So there's a very negative side to her, which he took advantage of and still does to this day. Then there's this very positive side that's starting to kick in now, as you see groups everywhere, the American Indian, the women, the blacks, the Latinos. People want to be counted because one of the big stories of her and her mythology was she was discounted.
That's right.
She was to go to a party, but she was not invited. She was left out. Yeah. So she threw a golden ball through the window, and there were all these beautiful goddesses. And on the golden ball was etched, "Who is the fairest of ye?" And of course, they all started fighting with their big egos. And she caused tremendous chaos.
Yeah.
So what's happened with the negative side of her? The positive side is, look, we're tired of being abused, we're tired of being not counted, etc. And we will use violence if we have to. Look at the United States Capitol building. So there are people that are using it and those abusing it.
Yes. So now that Pluto and Eris are separating from their square. So what do you think that is now going to bring, the fact that they're separating?
I think you're now starting to see, and I've been waiting and wondering. Number one, we're starting to see, because the United States is just not a country, being a Cancer country. We're not a country that just says, no matter what we got to do, we're going to do it. That's not the United States. The United States is, no matter what we do, we're going to take care of ourselves first. That's the U.S. And that's what kills us. But I think the Americans are starting to learn that this Arisian theme that is being absorbed into the psyche is right. And we're going to have to get this kind of drastic mentality, not a violent one, but a drastic one. And there's a very big difference. So I think you're going to start to see the cooler heads in America that used to dominate starting to not be able to operate from a cooler head position.
Yeah. So Pluto, their square, Pluto is to expose what's deep and dark and in the
digs up the garbage.
Yeah. So that has happened over the last few years with this square occurring.
Oh yeah.
All this discord is sort of helping, if you like, to dredge all the gunky underworld up, and now we have to start dealing with the aftermath and the exposure of everything that's corrupt and everything that's worthy of getting cranky about, I suppose, in now.
Well, there's no doubt. See, these two are a lot alike in terms of, you want to blow the hell out of everything? Sure. Okay. But when you really follow it, the Pluto is really got a good side to it. It's altruistic. It doesn't want to blow you up unless you have proven that you are not with evolution.
Yes.
That's Pluto's job. If you're not going to evolve, my job is to wipe you out. But that's different than causing live discord.
Yes. So fascinating.
So we're starting to see, but the big problem I gotta really say, in my opinion, has been so many astrologers, including some of the greats, have been fooled by this. You see, when I was writing about 2007, 8, 9, I kept finding there was something wrong. I kept telling my girl, there's something wrong here, something I'm missing. It's not right anymore. And I kept following the Pluto theme. And I found out one day from this guy who's not really a good astrologer at all, but he told me the problem was Eris. And I started thinking about it, and I went, God, he's right. So we were confusing, still to this day. Pluto Saturn mess recently is really caused by the Pluto Eris. This is the Arisian age. That's what's going on.
Yeah. And so Saturn moving into Aries with Eris in a couple of years' time. Are you concerned about that at all?
Oh, that's so far away.
Oh.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very concerning. But that's so far away that we got to get through these next 2-3 years. I mean, we're really in a lot of trouble.
Well, I guess these next couple of years will determine the effects, I guess, of Saturn moving.
Yeah, because it really means that the individual has to stand up and take ownership. And America is based upon not the individual, but I'm going to hide behind my family.
Right.
It just doesn't work.
No.
And of course, there are all kind of different countries doing their thing, but you're starting to see this American mentality being spread all out. So let's talk about harmonics.
Let's move on to harmonics. But that was very interesting, and I'm glad to get some clarity around the Pluto Eris thing from you for my audience, because I know they're going to appreciate that very much. But you are an expert in harmonics, and that's an area that I am not overly familiar with. I haven't read much about it. I'm familiar with, in the Vedic system, they have divisional charts. That's something I'm more, their theories around that I'm more familiar with, but I would really love to learn more about the harmonic.
I'm going to try to.
So take it away.
I'm going to try to explain it to you. I got into harmonics from a British book by a man named John Addey, Addey, about 1978, somewhere. That's about when I started studying. And I got his book, and it's the only book I knew on the market. And so I started to study harmonics right from his book. And what a harmonic is you take a number, such as the number 12, which is the beautiful number for Pisces, the number 4, which is the Cancer number. It's about emotion. Let's talk about the fourth harmonic. You take the position of your planets. So say you have a planet at 2 degrees of Aries. If you're on the fourth harmonic, you just multiply 4 times that 2. That fourth harmonic has that planet now at the 8th degree.
Right.
Okay. Well, if you got a planet at 1 degree, Taurus, that's the 31st degree of the zodiac. If you do the fourth harmonic of that one, that's 124. So that new planet, you now move to the 4th degree of Cancer.
Right. So you're working on not the 30 degrees of each sign, but rather the 360 degrees.
You simply take the number you want, multiply times the inherent value of that number. You'll get some real big numbers sometimes, and you just subtract 360 from that number till it gets down below 360. So it's a peculiarity. I'm going to explain this to you. I can't figure it out now. So I remember in 78 and 79, fortunately around 80, unfortunately, around 82, I lent my book to someone. So tonight's subtitle is "Don't lend your books to anyone."
Did you ever get it back? Because I've tried to find the book, and it's out of print.
Get it back. But I bought the same book about 3 years ago.
Oh, good.
I don't remember, but I do remember constructing this. Then you ask yourself, how do you get the house systems? And I've proven that recently. You take the value of your ascendant. So if you're 10 degrees Pisces, your ascendant is 340. 340. Right. 340.
Yes.
And you multiply it times the number that you want to work with. You get a huge number. You just keep subtracting 360 till you get an ascendant. Then you get equal houses all around.
Mm-hmm.
All the houses match the ascendant. Now,
This is not a sign, everybody, which is what you'll see me using in my videos. This
yeah,
is
well, that's
the other house.
Largely the same, yes.
Yes.
But here's the point. I remember doing these charts, and I don't remember a whole lot about what he said about the philosophy, but I remember doing transits to these charts. These Mars ended up in the 9th house. I remember doing solar arcs. They're just like a natal chart, except they're seen through the eye piece of that number. So if you're looking through 12th harmonic, which is my main one, you're looking at the chart spiritually. If you're looking at the 4th harmonic, you're looking at the chart emotionally. If you're looking at the 9th harmonic, which is big with a lot of people and big with Vedic, you're looking at them philosophically. So I started doing this for years and years and years. I let it go and I picked it back up recently, because I told my girl about 10 years ago, why are signs the way they are? Why are charts the way they are? I know what they're like. I know what the problem is, but why? Why you got 9 kids that are all this way and the 10th kid's like that? Why? There's got to be a reason. We're not dumb astrologers. So I picked up my harmonics again. I started to do it, and then I started hearing from all these fellers on Facebook that do harmonics, and they say that you cannot do a chart with it.
Cannot do a transiting chart.
You can't put a transit to it. You can't put a planet opposite a planet. You can't put a planet square to a planet. You can't put a planet in the 5th house. And I went, no, because I've been doing it.
Yeah, said, and you've seen that it works.
They said, you got it wrong. So I had to go back and rewind. I bought the book again, and I reread the book, and everything I read in the book again by John Addy agreed with them.
Right.
And I was stunned, because what they do, the 4th harmonic, is just a way of grouping planets that are conjunct or square or opposite.
Right.
That's what it is. Yeah. But there's no planet in the house, etc. Okay. So I told her, I'm ready to make a fool of myself if I have to, but things work. So I just kept on working, being neutral, trying to find out. And I found out that through all this work, I had heavy favorites towards the 12th harmonic and the 6th. Right. The 12th is by far the most important, because it's the Pisces number, and I started calling it the past life chart. Mm-hmm. And the 6th, I start calling it the destiny chart. And for a long time, I've worked mainly with those two. Since then, I'm getting a little broader. So I started working with the 12th harmonic. I'm going to show you what mine looks like here in a minute. And the 12th harmonic shows me very clearly what my past lives were like. Not the one, but for instance, I'm sitting with my spirit guide. It's 1951. I'm about to take a new life. What are my issues I got to work on? Oh, I better work on patience. I better work on more love, whatever it is. And that's how the birth chart, the 1st harmonic, gets informed with these trials.
Yes.
So I started testing 12th harmonic natal, 12th harmonic natal. And everybody I did for years, 12th natal, 12th natal, 12th. And you see a tremendous correspondence.
Yeah.
The natal chart is exactly what you think is the answer to the 12th harmonics problems.
Wow.
Now, you're gonna need your seatbelt for this. So it became apparent to me that the 12th harmonic informed the 1st harmonic.
Yes.
It showed a lot of neurosis, and that's why there's a lot of stability in the 1st harmonic. It showed somebody who was too stable and rock solid and never acted. It showed lots of activity in the 1st harmonic. And then you start to see in the first harmonic, the natal chart, I need these types of lessons. I need somebody to abuse me, somebody to stab me, somebody to give me $1 million, whatever. And your parents, who's nothing more part of your soul group, says, I'll play that role for you, and I'll play that role.
Yeah.
So what I found out in this life, it's a little bit of a story, but it's worth it. What I found out is that we tend to blame our parents for our problems. And our problems are not because of our parents. They're just playing a role. Our problems are because what we believe back in that 12th harmonic. Because the 12th harmonic is your overview of what you believed about God all this time. And that's what it all comes down to. It comes down to what you believe about God, what you think he believes about you, if I may use the word he.
Yes, we'll allow that.
Okay. Thanks for the judgment. Okay. So that's what it is. And after a lot of work, I have now gone full circle with astrology. And I feel like I'm done in a lot of ways, because I don't do a lot of the other stuff, but I feel that I understand what I need to, especially since I'm a big Course in Miracles student and I see where the two have equated. Yeah. So therefore, I started calling this 12th harmonic the spiritual transcript.
Right.
So it became clear to me that when you're studying with your spirit guide, oh, this is wrong, boy, you need to fix that and all that, fix that. That's all a bunch of junk. It's all a bunch of lies. It's all a bunch of garbage that you've been fed through dogma.
So what do you mean by that, Rick? That we think
it means that I come in this lifetime thinking I've got to become faster, or I've got to become kinder, or I've got to become this, or I've got to become that. And the real message is you don't have to become anything.
Exactly.
You're already fine the way you are.
Mm-hmm.
And to get this, I found out that none of us had to take a new life. We didn't.
We chose to? Is that what you mean? Like we
chose to out of fear that the pearly gates would stay closed. So we came in, work our ass off on certain things, thinking that the pearly gates will. Everything we do is to get God to lighten up his belt. When he pulls out his belt, he's about to whip us. Everything is about that. We think that's what it is, because God's nothing but a projected father. You wait till your dad comes out.
Yes.
He's a projected father. And we think if we're real nice that God won't pull out his belt.
Yeah.
So I found out through lots of work and lots of questions with people. People are like the 12th harmonic. They're very, very similar. The issues they've been working on is that. But what I found out is you don't have to do anything. You didn't even need to take a new life because you're already fine, because God has already made you in his image.
Beautiful.
That's a big statement.
It's an empowering statement that people need to understand, because it just sets them free. It's
what's happening. With Eris, with the power of Eris, that's what's happening. Only we're not handling it very well because it's so new. Plus, the people in the Middle East, they just losing their mind, because the Middle Eastern people are just think we're all just heathens and they're just here to obey. Everything in the Middle East, all their church is about obeying.
Right. I haven't looked at the charts of, Iran and places like that.
Don't waste your time. That's what it's all about. They got great hearts, but they're all into, did you obey? And if you didn't, you deserve to be struck down.
Yeah, about punishment and discipline. And
right. That's right. So now what I've come to is 12th harmonics show me very clearly whether you were very spiritual, whether you were working, whether you were over spiritual, whether you were devoted to God, etc. But it really comes down to what you think God thought of you.
Yes.
Okay. So what we thought all along was we better get this part fixed. It's all a myth that we thought that God thought was wrong with us. It's all guilt. We think that God doesn't like us because of that. Well, God doesn't judge. God does not judge.
Powerful.
What the books tell us, so is it?
No,
He
no.
doesn't throw you in hell forever. He doesn't judge because you're in his image and you're okay the way you are. So if that's the case, then you don't have to take a new life. So the 12th harmonic helps me to see we should stop there and cover some other harmonics so you'll get the idea.
Well, I just want, if I could interrupt for just a second.
Yeah, of course.
You've said that you like to use the 12th harmonic and the 6th, that they're your two main ones. That's
Right.
interesting to me that, the 12th is the past conditioning and the past imprints that we.
That's right.
And the 6th is the destiny chart, which I find fascinating because that axis in the horoscope of 6.
Oh,
6,
yeah.
12, that's a karmic axis,
That's a big deal, yes.
Yes. And so just to clarify for those who aren't familiar, when we're using harmonics, we're using 12 different charts in this instance. Do you use more than that? Because I know in the Vedic system.
You can. I don't. I use far less than 12. Number one is just the natal. I use 6 and I use 12, and I'll tell you what I use each one for in the matter of the thing here.
Yes. So each of the, let's say, 12 harmonic charts corresponds to similar themes.
Right.
The 5th house is the 5th
That's right. That's
chart
right.
is similar themes to the 5th.
That's what I have found. Yes.
8th house, 8th harmonic chart is similar themes.
Oh yeah.
The 8th house.
I'm not goofing around. I told him last night on my show.
Yeah.
I tell you what I found through research. I don't just say it stuff. Don't take what's in a book. I find chart after chart talking to people. Does this make sense? Does this make sense? Does this make sense? It's a dialogue.
Yes.
And people, even though people aren't astrologically strong, people have a sense of what's stirring down in that past life. They have a sense of it.
Yes.
They have a sense of accuracy too.
So interesting. It's so interesting. So please go ahead and tell me more about.
I use 6 sometimes for destiny because people want to know their life direction.
Yes.
I use it especially if I see no activity in the birth chart. I can't get them moving. Why are you stuck? Oftentimes I'll see the road to unstuckness in the 6th harmonic.
Yes.
Now, this is the one thing that's going to really get you. Okay? How many thousands of times have you looked at charts and the guy breaks his leg, or he gets divorced, or he gets stabbed, or he gets a job enhancement, and nothing shows in the birth chart?
Yes.
Happens all the time.
Yes.
Happens all the time. Your mom died, you're real close. Nothing going on in the chart.
Yeah. I have seen that.
Look in the harmonics.
Right. Because it takes things to that more finite level.
Yes, it takes you to a different lens that I call it. Right.
Wow. So interesting.
In the 12th, for example, let me show you my 12th.
So if somebody's mum had passed away and you can't see it in the birth chart, which harmonic chart would you go to look?
It all depends on what you're looking for. If it's an emotional crushing, you look in the 4th. If it's monetary, you look in the 2nd. If it's position in the world, you look in the 10th.
Yes.
If it's affecting your health, you look in the 6th. You have to play with it.
Yes.
You got to be very open-minded when you do these things, because you're going to do harmonics that don't make any sense. Just close it up, go to the next one. You got to be patient with it. Now, in my 12th, I took the value, I'm a Capricorn. I took the value of my natal planets, multiplied them all by 12, and put them back on a circle.
Right.
Doing the same with the ascendant, and that's where I got all of my 12 house cusps. So in this,
can I just say, for those of us who are using modern astrology, we can do this on astro.com as well by going.
Oh yeah, astro.com.
Yeah. But Rick's just explaining how we get to this how we calculate this chart, which is very,
Yeah, in the old days, I did it all by hand, right?
yes. I have great, great respect for you having done that, because
Well, there was a lot to be said for doing it,
Mm.
especially because you can catch mistakes. I
yes,
can catch when a computer's wrong
yes.
sometimes. Okay, now
Amazing.
here's my 12th harmonic. This is a list of what I've been like generally through many lifetimes in my attitude towards God. If this chart does not show much of an attitude towards God, then I can tell that the soul has never been that interested. They've been very materialistic. Well, look at this chart. Am I a teacher or what? 3 planets, 7 planets in the 3rd house and the 9th house.
Oh my word, yes.
Teacher.
And what are they? Gemini Sag as well. Wow.
They're Gemini Sag, and they make a T-square to Saturn in Virgo in the 12th house.
Spiritual
Now
teacher.
if that doesn't sound like somebody hanging on the cross unnecessarily, then I don't know what is. And look at the other way. There's 7 planets going to Venus and Pisces in my sense of service. So when I do a natal chart, I go to the natal, I come back to this, I go back and forth. And I tell my students, don't try to make your mind up. Don't force it. Go look at the natal, come back here. And after a while, you'll start to see a common theme.
Yeah.
And the theme here is constantly one of God, duty to God, teaching a great variety of subjects. I've been on the radio for years, been on the internet for years. This chart shows it. Now, it was interesting enough, the day Uranus hit this Venus, the day I was doing readings for people with no astrology. Somebody just sat down in front of me and said, read me. I was with a bunch of spiritualists, and they just said, read me. And I just started reading from what
you observed. Oh, wow. No chart, just observing.
No chart, but that was symbolic of the Uranus going alone. So these charts are accurate in their feel. They're accurate to their house placements. They're accurate to transits.
Yes, that's
I'm going to show you some more. I'll show you some more.
Yeah, please. Because I know you've read for me, and you observed transits to, I think it was my 5th house.
That's right.
One, and it was so accurate. Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's really accurate.
Yeah.
David Cochran's going to disagree with me because he's the primary guy that's doing it.
We can agree to disagree. That's fine.
Yeah,
I'm all for that, as long as we test for ourselves and embrace what works for,
Is that you've been trying it.
Yes.
Don't criticize me. Let you try it.
Yes.
Try it.
Yeah.
Look at the planets when your child was born. Look at the planets where they were when you got sick. Look, that doesn't hurt. So
and when you think about it, Rick, because this is such a mathematical component of astrology to calculate this, the ancients were all mathematicians and astrologers. The two went hand in hand all the time. This is not just pulling some airy-fairy technique out of the sky. It was working with the mathematics to develop.
Well, yes, you're right. And that's where these people that disagree with me do so. They say that it's not possible. And I say, you can't tell me it's not possible till you try it. And what I have found is quantum.
Yes.
There's a quantum relationship. It doesn't seem like you could use the houses. It doesn't seem like you could use solar arcs. But what you've done to that natal chart, you have looked through the 12th prism at that natal. And that 12th prism correlates somehow to the 12th quantum. I don't know what those words mean. I just know that it's on track. Now, let me show you another one. Okay, I'm going to show you a couple people. Here's a friend of mine. His initials or BJ. Okay. Now, he's a hardworking fella, has a business. He's a Sagittarian. He's very, very Sagittarian. And he does not, here's his 12th harmonic. Is that right? No, that's not
I'm just
right.
hoping that the recording is catching this. I'm just checking to see.
It should be.
It should be. Yep. I think it's fine. Yeah. Keep going. Sorry.
Oh, where is BJ? Okay, that's not the right one. So I need to do the 12th harmonic.
You've got some interesting people in your calculated charts.
Oh,
there.
I know. I saw Ted Bundy in there.
Yes. Oh, Paul McCartney. I saw. That's what I was looking at.
Wait till you
Padre
see.
Pio.
Wait till you see Ted Bundy's 8th and 12th.
Oh.
Okay, here's an example that was his natal chart before. He's a very, very nice Sagittarian who works very hard for his family.
Go.
This is the 12th harmonic.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
This is his past life experience, or
This is his
being.
past life leading into his birth chart. And what we found by talking to him is he's got this martyristic complex. He works his butt off. He's in his 40s. He can't go out and play. He can't go goof around. He can't sell his business. He's just overly dedicated to this family and his business. And this guy's a Sag. He wants to go play. Virgo. No, thanks so. And he's real proud of his work. He's got the moon opposite Neptune, which is the martyristic thing. And I've been working with him so long to say, look, you've done your work, and your guilt that you're having with God is not real anymore. You don't have to keep doing this. Your guilt is you're over dedicated.
Right.
But every time he starts to let go and to go on vacation, he feels terrible, gets back and gets the grinding wheel going again.
Right. So
You see?
interesting. And so
So
that's
you
the
really-
past life dynamic that's coming through for him from
That's
the Virgo
exactly-
sun. And
That's exactly
Wow.
right. And when transiting Neptune is in Pisces and hits these planets, like right now,
by
that's what we're
opposition.
talking
Yeah.
about it. That's when things change.
Right.
So what Liza and I have realized is your 12th harmonic is very symbolic of what's around the ankle?
A ball and chain.
Yeah, ball and chain shackles. Your problem is your shackles around your ankle. It's not the parents. So what I find with clients when they come to me is they're using acid and they're getting rid of that shackle. They're using they're using chisel. They're busting it up. It's happening. They come to me when this 12th grip is starting to lose.
Okay.
And they're all feeling like, oh, I can go now. Because we've all got this BS in our mind. Like, you got to stay here and you got to suffer and you can't do this stuff.
Wow. And so you went, because you're getting a lot of people coming to you with at that stage of their lives, you're
Right.
kind of like acting as the dude with the key to
Yeah,
the
that's
lock on the
very much
shackles.
it. That's because I believe the Holy Spirit is sending those kind of people to me.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I just appreciate it, and I tell them I'm available to do the work.
Yeah.
And these people will disagree with you if you're wrong,
Mhm.
but they agree largely.
So amazing.
Once again, the 12th harmonic is what you think God is pissed off about you,
Yeah.
and
It's
therefore
all in the
you gotta
mind.
it's all in the mind.
Mhm.
All in the mind. Let me show you some others because it's so fascinating.
It really, really is.
Let me show you. Let me show you Ted Bundy. His eighth. I don't have to tell you about the 8th and the 12th.
I have a soft spot for the 8th house. I've got 3 planets there, so I.
You better get rid of that soft spot because here he comes. Because this guy ain't got nothing to do with soft. Okay, here's Ted Bundy's 8th harmonic. He's a Sagittarian.
In his natal chart, he's a Sagittarian.
He's a Sagittarian. Here is his 8th, the moon next to Chiron, opposite the Mercury Neptune in Gemini. Hi, could you just help me put my surfboard on top of my car? I could use some help. I hurt my arm. And the T-square goes up to Pluto and it goes up to Jupiter. Look at the manipulation going on.
Yeah, that moon Neptune is always a tricky one, isn't it? When it's
Great
in hard aspect.
deceiver. The great deceiver.
So does that indicate that he is the deceiver, or in a person's chart who had it, might it also indicate that they were so vulnerable to being deceived?
It's my opinion that they could be both.
Yeah, mine too. Yeah.
But lately, the more I work with it, the more I'm seeing that it's probably him.
Mm-hmm. In the
That's
case
what I'm
of
sensing.
Gandhi, for sure.
What do you think, Charles Manson? Okay. Now the next chart is his 12th. Now look at his 12th. Mercury's opposite Neptune, 3 Virgo planets at the tip of a T-square in the 8th house. So he was very careful how he manipulated, planned how he get these women in his car and knock them out. And there's your sun and moon with the T-square to Neptune. So what happens when you have this kind of chart is they get mixed up, like David Koresh. They get mixed up between what their destiny is and what they think God has given them a special destiny. Right. They're special, you see, megalomania.
Mm-hmm. So that 12th harmonic with all those, with all those Virgo planets, how did that affect, exhibit in his life, do you think? Well,
the Virgo means that he was either too detailed and all that and needed more detail in this life, or most likely he was too shabby in this life, needed to become more detail oriented. And he was known for being, everything was planned out to the nth degree. You know, he worked with the FBI after he was caught, awaiting his injection. He worked with the FBI to help them understand the serial killer mind.
Wow.
He was very intelligent.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's a good time to review the harmonics. So I would look at the second, money, and I would see hardly anything. I would look at the third, and sometimes I didn't see many odd numbers at all. Sometimes I would see, you're going to write a book, it's going to be about this subject, it's going to be on this date.
Mm-hmm.
Fourth harmonic, I would look at now and then when I saw somebody who was really toiling emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
The fifth, I've become a fanatic about. I never looked at it before, but I'm going to show you some fifths tonight about how strongly talented these people are.
Yeah, so the fifth is about talents. It's
the house
of joy.
You get up on stage, let's go. Fifth harmonic strong. 6, I use a lot as destiny, and I especially use, I've just found this out, I use the sign at the top. That tells me a lot about what you should be doing. If you're a Pisces and you got Saturn there, or you got Capricorn there, you need to be doing something heartfelt, but in management.
Wow. I need to go have a look at my 6th harmonic straight away.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you have Pisces up there, just forget it. Pisces is the one exception with jobs, because I believe God knows that he's got a generalist with you, and he's just going to give you any kind of job he needs to at the last moment, and you're going to get it done because you have the right heart.
So that's the Pisces on the 10th.
Yeah, that's the Pisces up there, or Pisces in general, yeah. 7th, I hardly do anything with. 8th, I look at for people's corruption, people's misuse of power.
Right.
You don't want to look at our last president, no. 9th harmonic is the big one. It's what everybody says is the big one. It's what your Vedic people say is the big one. I've just started to give it an honest trial. I'm looking at it and I'm finding that the 9th is really valid, but I don't know what it means.
Right. It is a bit I find the ninth house a little bit difficult to grasp. It is quite a spiritual.
It's so big.
Yeah.
so big.
Yes. Mm.
10th. I use the 10th now and then, mainly when people have a scandal and they're about to. I call that my Humpty Dumpty house.
They're
He's
about to
about
fall
to
off the
crash.
wall.
He's about to crash on live TV. Yes. That's the 10th house. It's going to be known. It's going to be public.
Yeah.
11th, I see now and then with friends and groups, but mainly I spend all my time on 12 and 6.
Wow. So show us some fifth house, fifth harmonic.
Yeah, let me show you some fifth house. How about Ian Anderson, the flute player leader for Jethro Tull? Just incredible musician. He's still going at it. Of course, he's a Leo.
He will forever, won't he? Then,
yeah, he will.
During Leos, very loyal.
They won't step down off their throne. That's what it is. They won't step down off their throne.
Yeah,
that's simple, and you can't blame them. But look at this guy, this phenomenal a flute player and leader and guitarist. He's got the sun up in the midheaven.
Yes.
Fifth harmonic. He's got 3 lively. Look at these lively Gemini planets. He's the one that plays on stage on 1 foot.
Okay. I'm not familiar with Tull, so.
Yeah, he plays like the old ancient medieval flutist.
Oh, beautiful.
He plays on 1 foot and he's just totally lively and just full of life and bouncing and making big faces. It's wild. And look at that, Jupiter, Uranus, and Mars in Gemini. Opposite the moon in Sag.
Yes. And I'm looking for music as being a theme there with his Venus in Capricorn is the master. Capricorn is to have mastery over something, and Venus is music.
He's more of a Pied Piper. He's just a really dynamic and lively leader. Okay? Everybody thinks his name is Jethro Tull, but that's the name of the band.
Yes.
Let's take a look at
do this and don't do that and get right with God and that sort of thing.
He doesn't need glorified. We do.
Yeah, true.
You see a God up there saying, I don't know, she's just not been praying enough to me lately. And give her 3 minor demerits and let's see how she does next month. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's the ridiculous stuff that we think through fear.
Yes.
So I could go on and on.
Well, I think what you're talking about here, and I think we've talked about it on your channel itself, but I think this is us evolving out of the age of Pisces.
I think so.
Yeah, and so as we're moving now more and more and more into the age of Aquarius, which is only going to ramp up even more once Pluto goes in there in March, we're going to start to move more and more into the age of Aquarius. We're going to leave more of this condemnation, self-debasement, martyrdom, all that kind of Pisces shadow side energy. We're going to leave that behind.
Well, that's what I'm going to be asking you to come on my show to talk about.
Oh, right.
Because we're gonna all need to dig into that, because we got ourselves in quite a mire with the Capricorn age. Also, I really think I talked about this a few weeks ago. I think a lot of people are going to think that we got a panacea in front of us. They think that we're going into the age of Aquarius and it's all going to be hunky-dory. It's all going to work out.
I'm quite concerned about the age of Aquarius, to be honest.
Yeah. So I did a show on what is the age of versus what is Pluto in. 2 different things. That was a couple of weeks ago.
Yes.
But I think that too many people are going to think that since we got out of Pluto in Capricorn, it's all going to get easy.
No. Well, I have a question on that topic for you then. I mean, if Pluto's job is to dredge up the darkness, let's say, while he's been in Capricorn, to do with the hierarchies and the governments and the leadership, which is Capricorn energy, and he's done that. He's exposed, Pluto has, well, he's been there since 2008, has exposed all the darkness in high places. And now he's moving into Aquarius, the sign of the masses, the hoi polloi, the ordinary people. is it going to empower the ordinary people, do you think, or is it going to expose certain things?
I think it's going to do both. I think it's going to do both. One is, I think we're going to start to think about working together. Oh my God, what a shock. Get more work if we work together. And I think you're going to see a lot of funny money too. You're going to see a lot of funny inventions, funny financial inventions, brilliant ways of screwing people. You're going to see it all at the same time. I really think.
We need to be careful.
I do think, because there are a lot of Aquarian people that are heartless. And they're really dangerous. Most Aquarians are very full hearts, and they're wonderful, and they're very friendly and tolerant, and we need more and more of them. But there are quite a few that if they don't get that heart water in their chart from somewhere, it's not a water sign, they're a water spiller.
Well,
what they are.
It's waves, isn't it? Like I've heard it described, the water bearer tipping out. It's actually not water coming out, it's waves. So we're moving into an era of wave energy.
I think that makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense, yeah. Well, I always think of them, they want to give back. They're very environmentalist. They want to give back to the world. And these people, you saw a tree down, you'll find 10 Aquarians in a row crying. they're the sign that gets their heart broken when they see this stuff. But you still have to have a water source. They have to have
like a water house with a lot of planets in it.
Somebody's got to get through to them about love and tenderness, because some, especially the men, some Aquarian men can be pretty hard. Even Aquarian women. I've talked to clients that the Aquarian woman was their friend. Their mother was their friend, but they really weren't a good provider. They weren't really good supplier of TLC. So I think the problem I see here, Cassandra, is we've got the Saturn in common between being Pluto and Capricorn and Pluto and Aquarius. We still have the Capricorn, the Saturn in common. And I think that the Aquarius is going to take over, but I don't know. I'll tell you my far out one. I don't care if I embarrass myself or not, but my far out one now is I think the UFOs are here.
Oh, you're not the only one that I know of.
I think they're here. And I'm a double Capricorn, and I don't want to believe it. But I think they're here, they've been here, and they're worried about us. And we sure as hell don't know what we're doing. And we're real close to the edge, and we're not acting like it. But I do think that's a big deal. I think that we're going to need them desperately to get us pointed right, don't you?
Well, I know Dolores Cannon spoke a lot about that, and I have a great deal of respect for the work that she did and the insights that she gained. I do think we have to be very careful though, Rick, because we are at this changeover point from Pisces to Aquarius. So there will be some areas where we stand still to be deceived. I mean, the shadow side of Pisces is deception.
That's right.
Co-ruled by Neptune. So I have a friend whose podcast I've been on a little bit, Brandon, for those of you who are watching, and he is a believer that before very long we're going to see holograms projected in the sky that look like spaceships and what have you, to convince the masses that say we're under attack and all this stuff, and we need to be very cautious about what is real.
And that's exactly what I fear. I fear that too. Yeah, I fear that too.
And it, like I've just said, it stacks up because we're at a crossover between the sciencey, science fiction-y, whatever, Aquarian age and the age of deception, Pisces, and they're mingling together. So we do have to be very sure and, research everything. Don't believe everything you see and hear. Study it and own it for yourself.
Well, another thing is I do think people are starting to give astrologers appreciation.
That I am excited about.
Some of us deserve it. A lot of us need to just keep it zipped because
Yeah.
I hear some of the talk from astrology and I go, why are you talking about this? And
Yeah.
everybody wants to be a wannabe,
Mhm.
But I do think people have a lot of good hearts and people are coming out of the woodwork left and right to be a healer. They want to do what they can. I'm a psychic, I'm a medium, I'm a healer. They really want to, but you just can't do it because you want to.
That's true. And that's where
Yeah,
knowing your chart is powerful.
And you got to be disciplined to do this stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
You got to be.
What concerns me, and is that the lack of respect for people of an older age who've worked hard, studied, learnt, and grown their skills. There's just, to me, there's not enough respect for people who have done that sort of thing and gathered their knowledge. And people are people think that, I'm 21 years old, I'm a psychic, and maybe you do have gifts and talents in that, but there's still
It ain't
things
easy.
to be developed,
It ain't easy. And that's why I'm turning my show, which is called Astrology Unplugged. It's free to people that can stay awake. It's 8 o'clock American hour. But I'm trying to turn it more towards love because everything you read about means love. Everything you're in trouble about is lack of love. And I don't know, I don't want to be cornball, but I think a lot of us good old folks have a lot of great love in ourselves and we need to spread it to others. And I think a lot of people that are afraid of each other can relax when they see that they're very loved by others. But I really think that's the answer, my dear. I know you're a young'un, and I'm getting older, but you young'uns need to bring up the rear with the love message.
Yeah, it's true. It's so true because even the Bible says love conquers a multitude.
We had San Francisco and Haight-Ashbury in 1967. So you guys are going to need your answer to it.
Yes, we are. Yes.
We have paved the ground.
And that's where astrology got its, really started to get its second wind, didn't it? Through that movement.
With Mr. Arroyo.
Yeah, yes.
Mr. Arroyo forward.
There are a number of others at that time. James Braha was, and a lot of people turning to the Middle East, not Middle East, into the Vedic system of astrology, which had kept the integrity of its astrological knowledge for thousands of years, where we had lost it in the West and are rediscovering it now.
Well, I don't know what you're going to do because you're going to be a major teacher. I would like to be a fly on the wall in 30 years and look at you because you just know so much and you have such a real openness, sincerity, and people love you because of that, because they know you're sincere. They know it. You can't think it. And people I talk to, they go, oh, Kesenya. And I go, yeah, she's wonderful.
Well, maybe we could do some conferences together. What do you think?
I think we definitely should. I'm willing to help out in any way I can, but it's got to be centered around love. I can do what I can astrologically, but we got to start finding ways to be more inclusive of everybody, because that's what Eris is about. That's why she's pissed off, because we're not including. And she's saying to us, you're going to include by hell or high water. You're going to include everybody.
Love it.
And that's what she's screaming. And if you look around in the psyche around you, people are picking this up.
They are. They really
are. They don't know it, but they are. And it's because of her.
Yeah. Rick, I'm so excited by this because I had not associated the inclusive-ness component, of her mythology with what is happening.
That's the thing with Eris, yeah.
And how perfect, because age of Aquarius, Pluto and Aquarius has to do with equality too. So that ties in.
Of course it does, yeah.
Yeah. So this is.
Well, she's really mad because she got excluded. She tasted it firsthand.
Yeah.
She got excluded by these snobby gods. Yeah. And that's why she will go as far as discord and raise hell, because she doesn't care what it takes.
And do you
She
think
doesn't
there's
have,
any truth in the proposition that she has governance of Libra?
no,
No?
no, I really don't. The new book is marvelous, but I disagreed on that point. The new book is called, it's 12 years old. It's called Discovering Eris
Right.
by Cahill Legrice, Legrice. It's on Amazon. It's wonderful.
Okay.
First half of the book is all about great mythology. Second half is about the astrology. But this guy wrote it after 12 years of discovery, and he nailed this planet.
Wow.
Take a planet and to find out what its qualities are within 12 years, he nailed it. And these other guys are out there like Make and Hame and these other ones that have been found. They don't stand a candle in Earth.
Right. I must get that then. That sounds amazing.
You got to get Discovering Eris because she will open the whole category to you. You'll see that everything he's saying in this book is exactly what's happening.
Brilliant.
And it's not Pluto. And what we need to understand, we need to get them to stand apart right now. What's their difference? Because they are different.
Yes. So what has been the Pluto contribution to this situation, do you think? Like Eris has created the okay, we need some equality, there's chaos, there's discord. What do you think is Pluto's?
Well, Pluto is a very good question because we have written a lot about Pluto for 15 years. Pluto is evolve or die.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Pluto is show me, I'm giving you lots of warnings.
Yeah.
Show me you're going to evolve or we're going to squish you out.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's that simple. Pluto's very, people don't know it, but it's very loving. It wants people to do their best. It wants what's best, but it can only put up with you so long.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pluto is the planet of sweeping changes.
Yes.
It's
I actually love him. I just love
Oh, it's the planet of I have heard enough, and now we need sweeping changes. And you see how that fits well with Eris.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It really does. I loved how when they discovered Pluto, when they had the space shuttle that went that went past, it was on the side, you know, that they're as above, so below. Could it be any more beautiful? You know, there was the message.
I really want to see what you're going to do. You're going to be an exception. You're already exceptional.
Well,
but I want to see what you're going to do as you gain a few more decades on you.
We stand on the shoulders of those who've gone before us, Rick.
Yeah, you told me that before. But you've got a tendency to get scattered because you're so big. You're just so big.
I do. I need to rein it in.
I don't think you can really rein it in. You're going to stay big, but I still think that as you get bigger, you're going to get more focused on certain things, and you're going to be the voice of. And I'm very eager to see what that'll be.
Well, I feel that we can go there together because
let's go.
Yeah. I appreciate everything that you have contributed to the astrological community over.
Now, do you understand? Do you understand our harmonics a little bit better?
I do actually, and I'm keen to start working with them, especially working with transits to the harmonic charts. I think it's a powerful tool for any astrologers out there to be able to get more of a bigger picture on, like you mentioned Paul McCartney releasing songs when there were transits.
That's exactly right.
To his planets in his fifth harmonic of creativity. I mean, how beautiful. And how elegant is this system? It's just gorgeous.
Now this sixth harmonic of mine, all my house cusps are 0 fixed.
Really?
Here comes Pluto, 0.
Aquarius. Oh my goodness! What do you think's going to happen?
I know that it could be scary, but I'm not looking at it that way. I don't feel it that way. I'm looking at it as empowering.
I think it's already happening, Rick. Look, you've been speaking of transforming into leaving the astrology behind and doing the more spiritual work. Like this is the transformation of Pluto doing this transit, in the spiritual.
I think so, because I've done so many charts. What good does it do? I mean, it does good. It does
really
help.
does.
It helps launch people, etc. But I think that there's a meta level.
Yes.
As we get the really good astrologers taking over, like you, somebody's got to be taking over that leadership role. Because you look at America, especially. I don't know about Australia, but we don't have any leaders.
No, ours are all gone.
We don't have
I
any.
think we're
We have
being
no
run by
heroes.
gangsters, actually. So
Yeah, we have no heroes.
no.
I think Obama was quite a leader and a hero to many people.
But even outside the political sphere, we don't really have the role models that there's been in the past that we look up to any longer, like people that we admire. And maybe that's part of the equalizing, maybe that's part of the bringing everything.
I think you're right, but I do want to make sure I tell you before I disappear that you're really well loved by your people. I mean, I got so many people that go to me, "Oh, Kesenya's coming on the show."
Thank you.
And they get in line. I said, "How come when it's just Rick? Where are you then?"
Well, I hope that this video sends more people to you for readings, because
I do get a lot
you are an empowering reader, and I think that's a really tremendous gift that you carry and that you offer to the world through so many years of experience, but also through your loving approach to what you do.
Well, thank you, and I can only advise. Look at that 12th harmonic and you will see why they took this life. Oftentimes mistakenly. Oftentimes they brought too much guilt into it and they don't need to. And what you'll see is people are coming to you now to dump it. They're dumping the guilt. They're done with it.
Yeah.
It's not helping any of us.
Yes. And
especially the churches are making less money.
No. I'm surprised people still attend. Actually,
well, that's where they go to assuage their guilt, right? You pay enough money, I won't feel so bad. Yeah, it's such a racket.
But that's being exposed to, and that exposure, I think, really ramped up with Pluto in Sagittarius many years ago.
Of course it did. Of course. I mean, I feel like I have to pick astrology back up again now. Now that Pluto is coming through and Saturn's going to go into Pisces. I mean, there's a whole new genre of vistas that are coming our way,
And do you think that we're in a better stage now than we were 3 years ago when you were writing about Pluto and Saturn? Do you think things are?
I think we're worse off in terms of how things have gotten worse, but I think we're better off in the sense that it's really surprised me how many people have come forth and said, "Yeah, by God, we got to get off our butt and work, and we got to do it together," and that's very encouraging.
Yes. So there's awareness now. This whole Eris-Pluto square experience has created an awareness of where these problems
are. But don't fool yourself. This is the Arisian age. This ain't Pluto. See, I have to say certain things because I live with an Aquarian woman.
You have to watch your tongue, do you?
She's just a super idealist.
We love you, Liza.
You really do.
If you're listening.
She's a very good astrologer and she's working hard to make government better. And I can't stand that taste on my tongue. But she has the patience for it. And I just don't have it. And my patience is for spiritual work or for astrology. But, so many people want to learn astrology and it's really hard. And I think the harmonics can really help you.
Are you still teaching in any capacity apart from on your YouTube channel?
No, I put a 10-week course out there on my Astrology Unplugged. I put the beginning course out there with my final time.
Yeah.
No, I don't have any vocal course left for teaching. I just did it for too long.
Well, my lovely friends in YouTube land, if you would like to learn more from Rick, you can follow along with his YouTube channel, or you could purchase his book, The Exquisite Zodiac. I'll put some links in the description below for anyone who's interested.
Star Self is my website.
Star Self. Do you want to just talk for just momentarily about the Exquisite Zodiac? What does it say?
Yeah.
What the star signs are the way they are, and what it means for you.
In 2011, I got tired of just doing readings, and I said I got to get down what I know, and I took 37 years of knowledge, and I wrote down A to Z why the signs are the way they are, focusing especially on how Aries becomes Taurus, how Taurus becomes Gemini. And I felt that there were too many books out there. Let's go read about Taurus. Let's go read about Scorpio. That's not what this is. This ties them all together.
Beautiful.
And I felt we did a good job. We kept it very brief. We really focused on getting down to the essence. What's at the essence of these signs? Why are they doing what they're doing? So it was called Pisces, the ultimate sign, but I didn't think that would be understood right.
I like the sound of that, but
yeah, well, I did too. But Pisces is a hard sign to be. So we came up with this title that we were pretty happy with.
Yes, no, it's fantastic. So there will be links in the description if you would like to order that, or if you would like a reading with Rick, link is also, I'll pop it in the description below as well. So thank you so much for your time, Rick, in sharing about harmonics and discussing and solving the problems of the world with me for a few minutes there too, which is
I love talking with you. We just get into everything.
Yes.
And let's just keep doing it. And thank you and your followers very much for having me.
Absolute pleasure as always. Thank you everyone for joining us, and we will look forward to having Rick back again in the not too distant future.
Well, hello. Let me get things
Wow.
straight. Hi there, let me get things straight. Well, hello, and you all survived it. Except for Chuck. Don't think Chuck did, but that's okay. Chuck
It's
needs
kind of late over there.
I know Chuck needs his sleep, especially up there in the Himalayas where he's just
Oh my God.
he's just got a little sweater on. Well, everybody, what did you all think?
That was crazy good. You were on fire.
Well, thank you, dear. Thank you, dear. Working with her is a delight. You can tell. I tell you, if you really tune into her channel, she does a lot of work. She really studies, and I really admire that. And I like when she tells me no. That's good. I don't mind the no. Just tell me why. But she's really one of the good ones, and I'm very touched to be on with her. So, did the harmonics help you to get a little? All of you, whoever wants to talk, did the harmonics help you to understand what they really are? Hello, Barbara. Nice to see you. Go on, Elke. I know you're dying to talk. Go ahead, dear.
I already forgot what they
You're
were
holding
doing.
you're holding your words. Let them out.
The whole time I was thinking I need to go look again and see, look at my harmonics again because I had forgotten about them already.
That's okay. But take the 12th, go back to the natal, take the 12th, go back and forth till you see, well, this theme here is that theme here. That's what you're looking for, the common themes. Sometimes I get in the 12th and I can't figure it out, shut it down, go next chart. But most of the time, like when I do new readings, I'm almost every new client I do, I'm studying that 12th to find out why did they take this life as they did. And boy, does it start to it opens up to you. It just explains things to you. And for instance, I had a very serious heart operation in 2009. There was nothing in my birth chart. My sixth harmonic was pounded on right on the day. So
I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, it's really real. But you can't just listen to me. You got to try out different harmonics, find your favorite stars, and do their fifth harmonic, etc. Go on, Linda. She's over there rubbing her hands with Shelby, and Shelby's hanging out on the edge there. What's on your mind there, Linda? I've seen your post recently.
Well, we're almost done with basketball season, so Thursday night's gonna open up again, which will be
That's what I saw, you with the basketball team.
yeah. We have a tournament this weekend, and I have to say, Shelby actually, jumped on the couch at like 2 minutes to 8, as if to say, "All right, get on." And I was a little worried you weren't going to talk enough because she has to hear you. And
I'm going to have to put her picture as one of our diagrams.
she's just crazy.
One of our
Well, now she's all relaxed now. So
Now, I know I've spent a lot of time teaching with you, and I don't know how much you've done in your astrology life with harmonics.
well, I mean, the good thing, I think they're really important, and I still go back to that class we did with the fifth harmonic and all the musicians.
Yeah.
Because if you want to, I mean,
Huh?
it's remarkable. It's
It
absolutely
is
remarkable.
mind blowing. It just is.
And I think, I think that it goes back to that exquisiteness from your book, that term that's so perfect.
Right.
Because it's like astrology is so deep, and it's changed how I think about the world so much, because I don't worry so much about the world as much as I used to, because I figure we're where we are because that's where we are.
Yeah,
I mean, it doesn't help to worry about it, but what you can look at is the other energies and try to, put your own energy out there and push it in a way that
well,
makes
years ago, Liza and I came across a book by a guy named Michael Schneider, and this book is so fabulous. It's on the numbers. It explains number 0, number 1 through number 10. What does that number mean in nature and mathematics? And it's just an excellent book. And he even goes on to number 12. So I wrote to him one day, because when I was giving this book its title, I was trying to come up with the right word, and I wanted to see his opinion. So I called him to see if 12 corresponded with the word exquisite. And he said, yes, it did. So I was real convinced at that point. But what we mean by exquisite is with progressions. You could do a progression by month. You could do a progressions by once every 5.5 weeks. You could do progressions backwards, and it all works. That's what's so exquisite about the zodiac. It's not just a little simple linear number system.
well, the thing.
It's into the quantum mechanics of the numbers.
I mean, it's like a little.
Exactly.
I don't know. It's like this little miniature representation of the universe.
Exactly.
Like,
and major.
we're allowed to look. We're allowed to look in. It's like me when I think about my body, and I think about how I don't even have to think, and my pancreas works.
That's exactly right. Exactly.
Or there's some infection inside of me, and my body goes, oh, we're gonna go.
This is where you new beginners in astrology get messed up, and I did too. You try to figure out too much, and it's natural, but you can't do it. And I can see it in Elke already. I've known her for years. Elke's become much more relaxed. She's now taking this bit in, taking that bit in. I haven't even examined her mind recently. You could just tell. And after a while, you just start to allow things to be, and you start to trust that your mind taking these orbits. Let's go look at your first house. Let's go look at the 12th. Let's go look at your first. Thank you, Erica. That's the book, The Constructing the Universe. Excellent book. But the real help in reading is going through repetition. And you see, well, I saw a bunch of Virgo 5 times there, and I saw it 3 times over here. And then you start to see, well, this must be a heavy Virgo incarnation. Then you start asking, well, why? Why is that? So that's the real smart thing. That's how you learn, is by recognition to repetition, recognition of the repetition. Gotta say that. And then it starts making sense. Then you start feeling more sure of yourself, because up until then you're guessing. So what you need to do is just guess at first, but keep it light, use a pencil, come back to it, because you're smarter than you think. When you starting to notice these archetypes showing in the charts, you're all smarter than you think. And I'm talking about as far as reading a chart. What do you think, Mr. Sean? You've been you've only been here a couple weeks, but you're Charles is hearing this.
I don't know much about the harmonics,
That's
but
okay.
I've just listened to the interview with the lady, and I pretty much get a little understanding. I'm gonna look into it some more.
Well, yeah,
Everything else I'm pretty versed.
So you're pretty good, huh? With the other
I
stuff.
wouldn't say good. I don't like. I'm okay.
Well, you're getting there. I know it took me 20 years before I started even sniffing that word. Yeah,
Right.
it's hard. Well, most astrologers start doing pretty good after 3 years. It takes you about 3 years to get to get your houses different than the planets.
Okay.
Because it's
And the book, Discovering Aries. Who was the writer? Let me see if I have the right.
Kahil, Kahh, Chiron, Kheiron. Wait, I'm getting a nod shake here.
I think it's more like KERI.
Okay.
Yeah, I got it.
The
Caroline
last name was
Price.
important. Legrice, Legrice.
Mhm.
Yes, that's it. Excellent. Excellent book. If you get bored with all of the mythology, then skip to the halfway point, then it becomes all astrological. But the guy's remarkable, because he's telling you what this planet is like. And he's right. And now I got to get in shape because of all the new ones. All the new ones we're finding beside that. And, it's just what it needs, a bunch more.
I've been trying to find like a site that would show me where Eris is in my chart, but I haven't bumped into any yet, but I'm still looking.
Just go to astro.com. It's got all that.
Okay. It's
Astro.
not the same thing as Eros, right? It's not.
No, it's ERIS. It's not Eros.
Got it.
ERIS is not an asteroid. Eris is
Gotcha.
not an asteroid. She is a centaur. ERIS. She is between Saturn and Uranus. That's
Okay.
why. Wait, no, I'm wrong. Eris is beyond Pluto. Eris is in that beltway beyond Pluto, and she takes a long time. The other one I'm speaking of was the centaur, was Chiron.
Chiron, okay.
Now, Eris is very slow. She's been in Aries since 1920. She's still there.
She's in Aries.
Who is what?
Aries is in Aries since the 19th.
Eris has entered the sign of Aries in 1920, 1921. She is the brother of Mars. She's been in Aries for 120 years, and she's got another 20 years to go. So she moves very slowly. And when you start putting her on charts, you'll start to see this person is really a fanatic about this part of life. I did a show about 2 months ago on these people have strong heiresses in their chart. You might want to go back and look, and you'll see, like, for instance, one day I was sitting, I said, how can this Trump just keep putting up with this junk? So many people calling him a liar all the time. He's just got so much opposition. And I looked in his chart, and he's got a big bucket pattern, and Eris is over here.
Hmm.
Which means he feeds off of it.
That's what I was just gonna say. That's his
He
gift.
feeds off of it. And he's the Prince of Discord. That's when he came about. But anyhow, the point is, Eris has a really good side, and if she's got a very touchy side, that if you don't treat her right, she's got a nasty side. She really does, and that's why you're finding us walking the fine line right now. We are. So I'm going to bring the show to an end. It's been a long one. I want to thank you for staying put for and patience for watching that show. I hope that it helped you with some stuff. Next week's going to be astrology. Then 2 weeks from tonight will be my friend from California, Clarissa Bergman. And she is an expert with tantric work. She's really, really good. And we've been partners in the Course in Miracles together. And we're going to talk about what we think is the myth of the New Age movement. The myths. You got to do this. You got to do this. Well, maybe you don't have to do this. Well, maybe you don't have to do that. We're going to try to straighten out the myths, mainly to make it more manageable. Do we want to try to start a spirituality around ourselves that's easier, where there's less condemnation, where there's less work you gotta do, there's less guilt you gotta haul around, etc. So that'll be in 2 weeks. So thank you all for tuning in. This will be on YouTube tonight. See you and thank you.
Thank you, Rick. That was really
Bye.
fun and interesting and great to see everybody and great
Thank
to meet
you.
Sean.
Thank you, dear. Thank you, everybody.